So here we have an introduction to tricky words, what they are. So our language is one of the most difficult to learn, and it really is. You know, you teach them a rule and then you teach them that there's another rule, and actually the rule you just told them doesn't apply to this word, and so on and so on. So lots of words that we can't decode using our phonics are called tricky words. There are quite a lot of these, but they're taught in stages that match the phase of phonics that they are learning at the time. So on the following slide will be the phase 2 tricky words that will be taught first, as we're still in phase 2. So the children are taught that tricky words are trying to trick us because we can't use a phonics. If we try and use our phonics, it doesn't make sense. We just have to know them. These are the phase 2 tricky words. So these are the words that we are going to start learning to read. As you can see, you can't use your phonics for them. You just have to know them. We just have to learn them. So it's constant repetition, going over and over them, and they will start to pick them up. So you'll start to see these words coming home in reading books. Maybe make some flashcards to have around the house as well. Just constantly referring to them, repetition, and they do start to pick them up. When they start doing more writing, they will start to remember how these are spelt once they can read them. But if they are wanting to write one of these words that you know is one of their tricky words, maybe just remind them, oh, that's one of your tricky words. Do you want to go and get your tricky word mat and we can see how that's spelt? Now we've learned all the phase 2 sounds. There's quite a lot of words we can make using the sounds we know. So your child's going to start bringing home some captions and the pictures that match the captions. When they bring these home, do these as a reading activity just as you would a reading book. Read the captions together. Can they find the picture that matches the caption? Just a really good way of consolidating all the sounds they know, and any tricky words might be popped in there as well, just as another way of practicing. Here's an example of a caption that your child will be able to read now that we've done phase 2. Reading these just in the same way that we talked about in the previous video, just in the way we've been doing singular words, you'll see that it's just an increase in stamina that the child needs now to put a few words together to read a caption. So just in the same way that they've read other words, you'd sound it out, p-at, blend that at the end of that word. So p-at, pat, dog, dog. Pat at dog. Encourage them to go back to the start of the caption, say it out loud all in one go. It does take practice. There's a little bit more stamina needed, and also they need to retain the sound, the word that they've just read as well. So a few extra skills going in there, but they are more than ready. These will come separate from the picture, so you can read them together, find the matching picture that matches what you've just read. Another tip as well can be to add sound buttons to the captions. Just like we talked about sound buttons previously, there's nothing wrong at all in adding sound buttons underneath a caption that your child's trying to read. It can just help them focus a little bit more on which sounds are coming next. Some children can struggle to keep up with where they're up to, and sound buttons just help that, give their finger a focus of where they should be, touching under each letter and making the sound. I know a few of you at home have been getting on really well with the reading books and flying through them, which is brilliant. The children are very enthusiastic as well about coming in and getting their books changed, which is fabulous. There's been a couple of questions about how to help with the reading books. When you come across a word that they don't know, we do, as much as possible, try and match the reading book to their exact phonic level. So they should be able to either decode the words, or if it's a tricky word, it's one that they should know. If for whatever reason you come across something that they don't know, maybe it's a tricky word that we haven't learnt just yet, or a capital letter as well is something that can be confusing, don't be afraid to just tell them the word. Say, oh, this one's a bit funny, it's a bit different to how if you use your phonics, it doesn't sound quite right. I'll just tell you that one. Capital letters, they aren't taught yet, and children will start to recognise them, especially the ones that are at the beginning of their own names. But don't worry about pointing that out. If you do have a capital letter in your book, just tell them, and they will just start to pick things up. So carry on with those reading books at home. I'm going to send home as well some printed paper books that are perfectly match to their phonic level as well. So keep those at home. You don't need to send those back. They're for you to keep. Keep on with reading books and keep your eyes peeled for the next phase 3 video. Thanks for watching.